Alright, so recording this pretty fresh off the loss, only 20 or so minutes after the game finished. Yeah, not a good feeling, going down in the final by 6 points, as you can imagine. I think I was pretty cool, calm and collected for the first 3 quarters, and for the last quarter, I was jumping up and down, bashing my head on the ground. Yeah, and it's really disappointing. I thought we had a chance there for a while, throughout this sort of period of the game where we were down by like 9 or so points. We'd kicked the first goal of the last quarter through Luke Parker. Then we were pushing for a while. Almost got within less than a kick. Goulden's kick from outside 50 was touched. Yeah, pretty inconclusive evidence to overturn that one, and they didn't overturn it. So, I mean, fair call there. Look, man, it's just... We definitely weren't the better team for the most part of the game. Carlton definitely deserved to win that one. We just couldn't seem to get any sort of ball movement going in that first half, and sort of the third quarter as well. Second half here, we started to get back into it. The last quarter we dominated. We just couldn't put it on the scoreboard. Yeah, I thought we were in trouble early when Carlton kicked the first two in a flash. I thought, oh no, here we go. This is going to be an absolute belting. But to our credit, we stuck in it. We dug in. We couldn't quite get the job done, but we stayed in it. We made it an entertaining game. It was a very good game. 92,000. I honestly thought it was more than that, looking at the crowd. It looked like more than 92,000. It looked like there was more than 95,000. Not that there's really much of a difference, but yeah, back-to-back 90,000 crowds is pretty damn good. What do I say about the game? Well, really, other than our goal kicking, we kicked 9 goals, 14 behinds. Some of them were more than gettable. I thought our kicking through the corridor, our ball movement through the corridor, particularly in the second half when we were really trying to take the game on and come back into it, I thought that we just, every second time we went into the corridor, we just turned it over. I always got anxious when I saw that we were about to take on a kick because I knew it could go pear-shaped. Yeah, there was a number of times where it was the right idea, but they just shanked the kick and kicked it straight to a Carlton player. I'm surprised I didn't get more scores from turnover in the middle half of the ground, Carlton, to be honest, because they weren't very efficient going inside forward 50 either. Mackay had a couple of absolute stinkers. He missed one from about, I want to say, 6 or 7 metres out, and then another set shot 15, 20 metres out, absolutely shanked. And then he got injured. It wasn't the best night for him. Yeah, I really don't know what else to say. Luke Parker, I thought it was an interesting move, putting him to full forward. Seemed like we were doing that to nullify the influence of Jacob Wiedering, and he actually looked like arguably our most dangerous forward apart from McLean. McLean was very good. Yeah, Parker kicked a couple of goals. Every time the ball went near him, he provided a contest. It looked like something could happen. Sorry, I've got the hiccups. Jeez, don't know what's happened there. Yeah. So, I mean, that is an interesting thing because he is getting towards the end of his career now. We chucked Heaney into the midfield, so potentially going into the future, I think we could look to play Luke Parker more forward time. He has played forward in the past. I mean, there was that game against GWS last year where he kicked 5 goals, won the medal for best on ground, And earlier in his career, I remember a game he kicked 5 goals against Geelong, so he clearly can play up forward. Yeah, everyone's calling for Heaney to play more midfield time, and maybe that's how it happens. Maybe we do a role swap. We play Luke Parker as the half forward and Heaney as the midfielder, and then they can rotate, of course. But yeah, that's just something interesting I took out of the game. Let's just go through some of the standout performances. Yeah, looking through the stats, I thought Tom McCartan was our best on ground. His stats, you'd look at them and you probably wouldn't think that, but he was so good, man. I was really worried into the game about Charlie Curnow just absolutely tearing us to shreds. He had pretty minimal impact, kicked a goal early because the ball got spilled out the back and he got a pretty cheap goal, handball over the top, so yeah, he didn't really have too much of an influence. McCartan, I want to say he took about 6 or 7 intercept marks. He had like 12 intercept possessions. I checked before. Yeah, 12. 3 contested marks. I'd like to see how many one-on-ones he had and how many one-on-ones he lost. I wouldn't think too many. 100% disposal efficiency. One of only 2 players on the ground to have 100% disposal efficiency. So yeah, he was just awesome. Does it have the stats up for intercept marks yet? No, it doesn't say how many intercept marks yet, but I think 6 or 7. Errol Goulden, 2 goals and 23 disposals, I think. Yeah, 23 disposals, 20 kicks. Hardly had a ineffective kick. I reckon he turned the ball over about maybe once or twice because he was so good with ball in hand. Almost kicked a 3rd goal. Very, very close to kicking a 3rd goal. Yeah, 500 metres gained. He was just... He was awesome out there. Nick Blakey, how many disposals did he have? 23. Felt like a lot more than that. It felt like he... yeah, he was... Well, I guess he did have a bit of time off ground with the HIA assessment. But yeah, he was very influential. Every time the ball got in his hands, I thought that something good could definitely happen. Yeah, Lloyd, I thought, was pretty good as well. Held up pretty well down back. Was pretty good with ball in hand. Hayden McLean, I'd say probably the best game of his career. Really stood up, took 12 marks, was probably our most threatening looking forward. Played a bit in the ruck as well, so got up the ground. Yeah, was just clunking everything. Only kicked the 1 goal, but I'd say, yeah, that was probably the best game of his career. I think he has kicked, like 4 goals in a game before. I think that's his career best against Geelong a couple of years ago, but I think he had much more impact in this game. We signed him on for 4 years recently, so it's good to see that he has repaid us by playing an excellent game in a final. So yeah, he's definitely going to be a big part of our future going forward. Marty got subbed off, but I still thought he showed some promising signs going into the future. Yes, now I guess I'll just go through my best on ground votes. I'll give the 3 to McCartan. I was really impressed by his game. 2 to Adam Chera from Carlton. 1 goal, 24 disposals. Yeah, he really got in and under there. And I'll give the 1 vote. Actually, I'll give the 2 votes to Goulden, whatever. So yeah, 3 to McCartan, 2 to Goulden, and I'll give 1 to Chera. I felt like we had a lot of really good individual performances. I thought the same thing about Melbourne last night as well. They had more better individual performances, but they just didn't gel as well as a team. That quite often does happen. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the game. Yeah, it sucks to lose, but we really, arguably, we shouldn't have even been in finals anyway, with that Adelaide Crows goal umpire incident. So, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's about it. If you have any other thoughts on the game, and feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Alright, bye.